Yeah, the philosopher, Joseph F. Barton. Yeah, I think, who else did I meet yesterday? Who else have I met? No, I think that's it for this week. It's been a bit of a quiet week.
What were you talking to Andy Carroll about?
When we went on, when I was in Brazil last time on my highly successful last world tour, this was called Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, coining it in. We went to a rather discreet little nightclub in the back streets of Rio de Janeiro, and I said to him, "You're going to be going Rio, do you reckon?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll get fit, I'll try and get on the plane." I said, "I'll tell you what, mate, it's a club you got to go to." And he said, "Oh," and I said, "It's called The Balcony." He stopped me and he said, "I've already been." And I thought, nice. Great club. Jazz club.
Right.
Yeah.
Good music. Is that what they call it, is it?
Yeah, just nice jazz, just nice coffee time jazz.
Have you ever been there with your lovely, beautiful, gorgeous, pouting, fragrant wife, Sarah?
Fragrant? Hang on a minute, how close have you two got?
Well, she wears a lot of perfume.
No, she doesn't.
Alright, does she not?
I swear, if this phone doesn't ring in the next 10 seconds with a shout, she does not wear a lot of perfume.
It's maybe just because I smell awful.
No, she smells a little bit like an Indian spice shop, if the truth be told. And, no, going to try and get Sarah out to the World Cup in Brazil, but of course Scotland not qualified again.
Oh, yeah. Very good. You have been to every World Cup final for the last
I've been the last
World Cups, haven't you?
4, I think, yeah, to the finals. Luckily enough, a mate of mine, Gary Aston, who works for Adidas, he can procure the tickets for the final. And, yeah, there was, I've been the last 3 or 4. Brilliant.
But you support Ireland, really, don't you?
Well, I don't really have a great passion for international football, because I was born in England, but all my ancestors and relatives are Irish, so I don't really get that het up when England get beat. I don't really get that excited, but I do like to go. I mean, I love football, so I go and follow. I follow both. And neither at the same time, do you know what I mean? But, you know, if it's a first-class, all-expenses paid trip to South Africa, I'm as English as they come, mate.
You like a fruit. Listen, you've lived off the sun expenses for a few years as well, haven't you? Let's just make that clear.
Well, that's your game, Gordon. So if you're taking me out on a bender, you know, you're paying. That's it at the end. If we're out, you're paying.
I'd just like to say I paid a £600 French polishing bill for your missus. It's true.
Yeah, but he needed polishing, that French fella. I know, but for all the expenses, that gives you the leeway to kind of write those stories. But you don't phone and check with me whether it's true, but it's just a good story.
Yeah.
You know, so and I read it and I'll say, "Gogs, are you mental?" And he say, "I kind of knew it once." He said, "But it's a great story." He said, "That's just fine. If I phone you, you'll tell me not to print it."
I'd just like to refer everybody back to the disclaimer at the beginning of the show. Everything with a massive pinch of salt. Turn his microphone down, Matt, right? We're going to have a little break now, then we'll come back, listen to a bit of Kasabian and hear more lies from Noel Gallagher. That's Kasabian Process Beats. This is XFM and the last ever Smart on Sunday with Mr. Noel Gallagher in the studio. Yes. Speaking of Kasabian, 2 of the best nights that I've ever had in my life were with you and Kasabian. One at Earl's Court, when they played there.
And we had the football match at 5 in the morning.
I remember at one point I was wearing terrible shoes.
That's when I claimed the Caner of the Year award.
You did?
When you went, gotta give it to you. Look at the state of you. I was in net. I was playing net for a rest of the world 11 against Kasabian, who were England. I had 2 cans of cider and a cigarette. I was the goalie. This game was. I think it was 11-all or something. And then Kasabian had to go to Newcastle. They pulled the game to that.
They did. Yeah. Are we allowed to talk about that? I don't know. I remember your mate Scully, or our mate Scully, emptying a fire extinguisher all over our other mate Mikey at about 5 o'clock in the morning.
Remember that? Was it in Claridge's?
Oh no, that was another time. That was after.
That was after U2.
That was U2 Wembley. Yeah. That was a great story. Tell that one quickly. Roman Abramovich, me and you.
We're in. We go see U2 at Wembley, and we go see Bono because he's our mate, because we're dead famous and that. And so we go see Bono, and in this room, Roman Abramovich comes in. So we'd had a few, and it was just as the Sheikh had taken over City, and we were giving him what we felt was a bit of good-natured stick, you know, football, money, Russians, Arabs, and all that kind of thing, and until this guy just had this big black leather sleeve of a coat just appeared and put his hand on his chest and said, "You can stop that now." So we were like, "Yeah, who are you?" And he was just like that. "Stop it, go away." Alright, sorry.
I just remember you saying to him, because we were doing this through his wife as well, because she was interpreting for him, because he didn't understand English apparently.
He understands English.
He understood. And you said to him, we've got more money than you, at which point he got his wallet out. Do you remember that? And waved it in your face. Do you remember that?
Brilliant.
Because the guy with the earpiece came across to me and said, Mr. Smart, can you tell Mr. Gallagher that it's time to go now?
And anyway, we end up back at this party, and we sat around this table with,
Bono?
Well, not like to name drop. Well, we do like to name drop. We are with a name.
You ready for this?
Salman Rushdie, right? Who come out of hiding for the U2 gig. Right, it's a bit brave, isn't it? You know what I mean? Just kind of sat around this table thinking, all of a sudden don't feel very safe here now. You know what I mean? And I was talking to this guy, young guy, and he was asking me about where I was and where I'd come from and all that. I was telling him that, you know, I'd started, you know, Manchester in a council house, blah, 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 and all that. And he was saying, well, you have a very inspiring story, you know. But do you ever thought of speaking at the United Nations? And I was like, who are you? And he said, I'm the Crown Prince of Bahrain. We can fly there now if you want. And I was like, I just see myself standing up tapping the mic. All right. Good here, isn't it? I like the nibbles. The nibbles are good, aren't they? Anyway.
Oh,
right.
dear. That was a brilliant night.
Well, that was a brilliant night. And,
I'll tell you what happened that night, actually, because you left, right, which occasionally happens, and you leave me behind at these things.
I left on the shoulders of another man, though. I remember that.
That was carried out. That was the second night, because this was a two-nighter, that one.
Did we go 2 nights?
We went 2 nights, yeah, but the first night, you left early, right?
Oh, I went to Blackburn to see City, didn't I?
You did, and I remember turning around. And proper fan.
Blackburn, proper
fan. And I looked around, it was just all famous people in the room, and I was telling a story about fighting Robbie Williams. And then suddenly realised this isn't the best audience to tell this story to. Me and Scully stood in the middle of a room. But yeah, Kasabian, another good Kasabian night was in Edinburgh, New Year's Eve, 2008.
Brilliant. The best night out. We went to the Hogmanay, as my mum calls it, the Mahogany celebration. And Kasabian were playing. And my one memory of it, we had this massive hotel suite. There was
presidential.
We were all real close friends, so there was no kind of hangers on. I started a massive conga in the street outside, didn't I? Went all the way from one hotel to another. But there was such great nights. One of our mates called, he was singing opera out the window at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But then at one point, we were like, where's Gog's gone? No one had seen him for ages. And I was like, where's he gone? Well, you can't miss him. He's got a white fur coat on. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And someone opened this cupboard door, where all the coats were hung up. I swear it was as big, you couldn't get more than, he was in a broom cupboard, just in there on his own. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, just getting 5 minutes, man.
It was all getting a bit too much.
But you had the room, though. You had the room, and there were like ceremonial swords and shields on the wall. I mean, I'd like to think they were like 400 years old, but they'd obviously been put there like in the 80s.
Yeah.
And there was a bit of damage to the room, and this guy is going, you'll pay for this in the morning. We're all getting the credit cards out and going, God, it's worth $19.99, that sword. That's not come from Bannockburn. That has not come from Bannockburn.
Oh dear, I got the bill the next day, £600 French polishing, because your missus had been dancing on Winston Churchill's table, left little holes on it all across the table.
Let's try living with her. So, talking of which,
yes.
We're going to play a song which it's a favourite of XFM listeners, I would imagine.
So, yeah.
I think it's the most requested song on XFM of the last 10 seconds, and it's for my 2 young lords, Donovan and Sonny. Donovan, who of which once referred to Gordon Smart and looked at him at a party of mine and just went, he's not a real grown-up. And the other little lord, Sonny, and for my Mrs. Sarah, who'll have to deal with this now, and this is, of course, the colossal Gangnam Style.
That's XFM classic, Gangnam Style by Psy.
Now listen, you skinny-legged, angular haircut freaks, don't tell me you weren't all doing it then. Don't tell me you weren't all doing it. I know my 2 lads were.
Oh dear.
One of the boys.
What lovely wee boys, eh? Donovan, cracking me lad. My little boy fell over the other day, and he got up and went, Daddy, it's only rock and roll.
Nice.
I said, where'd you hear that from?
Donovan's taken over this persona. He said, we lying on bed one morning, he said, Dad, when I'm a rock star, I'm going to be called Galaxy Gallagher. That's brilliant, that, isn't it? Galaxy Gallagher.
Yeah.
It's alright. I've already copyrighted it, by the way, if anybody's thinking of using it as a domain name. That's already done.
So one of the best nights, well, I say one of the worst nights out followed one of the best nights we had in LA when you were recording the last Oasis album. It was around the time of the Oscars.
No, I'll tell you what happened. No. Gogs give it the big one 6 weeks before. Oh, you know I'm going to be at the Oscars when you're in LA. It's like, great. He said, we'll have to go out to the parties. I was like, come on. Now we're talking. So it gets to the night of the Oscars. Comes round the hotel.
This is grim.
The night before, I'm saying to Liam and everyone, I'm going out to the Oscar party tomorrow night. I'm this far away from Jack Nicholson, that far away from George Clooney. This could be the making of me. I cannot believe it. And I'm with the guy that can open those doors. Anyway, so it gets the Oscars is on, so it's like, picks me up at the hotel, right, there's a party at the Chateau Marmont. He said, we're going to meet some people there and then we're off. I said, great. Now, it kind of dawns on me the minute we come out of the hotel, this might not be a night when he starts hailing taxis in the street. And I'm like, cat's not even got a car, do you know what I mean? Taxis? You don't rock up at an Oscars party in a taxi. Hang on a minute, that's not how I roll. So he's like, come on, we'll get a cab, we'll go to the Chateau Marmont. So there's a guy on the door, yes sir. And he goes up and he says, it's, and I'm thinking, please see, ice Gordon Smart from The Sun. And the guy goes, flicks over one page. I was like, alright, this is already bad. No. Flicks over another page. I'm thinking, he's bound to be on the third page. Even I'm on the third page, and nobody even knows who I am. Gets to the third page, and he said, no. And he said, okay, about, Ewan McGregor? And the guy goes, flicks back. And then he went, no. And he went, James McAvoy? And at this point I said, are you just going to list Scottish actors? No. Is this what's happened? We're going to go around every party while you go, Billy Connolly? Billy Connolly? So we have to stand outside while all these limos are pulling up, you know, blacked out windows, and he's going, oh, I can't believe it, man, I can't believe it. Sounds going, he's just listing Scottish actors. You know, what are you doing? So at least go with Sean Connery. Do you know what I mean?
Can I get my own bag?
So he says, no, right, what we'll do is let's go back to our hotel, I'll make a few phone calls. So we get in another taxi. If anybody's been to LA, there are no taxis. It took all night to get a pull up the street in a taxi. Gets in, some guy, me and him get in, and he's like, oh, where are you guys from? I went, oh, you British? You in time for the Oscars? And I was looking at him going, yeah, kind of, you know. And the guy says, oh, I'm sat in the front, and he says, you look kind of familiar. And I was like, oh, thanks very much. And he said, you're in a band? And I went, I am indeed. I said, and he said, a big band? I went, yeah. And he said, are you Paul McCartney? And at first I thought, that's not bad, that. You know what I mean? Until I thought, McCartney's 64! Do you know what I mean?
Oh, dear.
I'm only 39. I was 39 at the time. I was like, he's 64!
Yeah. Do you remember
that? Turned into a bad night.
The night before, though, right? It was a good night. We had a really good night. A proper night out. Don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that,
we had a bit of a long day with Ali Ross, weirdly, the TV critic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was a good day out. And we got back to the hotel and we'd had a few to drink. And the stories were coming out and we're all shouting at each other, talking away. And a big fella comes across, covered in tattoos. And Noel's like, oh, here we go, I'm going to have to do another autograph here. He's going to tell me his favourite song's Wonderwall, and he was at Nebworth, blah, blah, blah. A guy comes across, and you're just getting yourself ready to do your best left-handed NG signature.
Yeah. God bless.
And he says,
nice one. Keep behind the records.
And you go, come on, mate, what is it? And he goes, can you just pipe down with the swearing, please? My daughter's over there.
Which, if anybody knows me, is virtually impossible once I've started drinking.
No better time to play a bit of Paul McCartney and the Beatles. This is Day Tripper on XFM, the last ever Smart and Sunday with Noel Gallagher. That's the Beatles, Day Tripper on XFM, last ever Smart and Sunday. Coming up, music from Oasis.
We've been joined in the studio by two people from the future, by the way. They've come back from the future. How's it going in the future?
It's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
How bad a job does Gordon make of it in Scotland?
Ruins it.
Does he end up being the showbiz editor of the Metro, Doncaster Metro Monthly?
You'll still be on the end of the phone.
Listen, you know your cachet's gone down now. We are not mates after today. You know that, don't you?
It's been. Listen, I've made the most of it. You said to me when I started, ride it till the wheels come off, and they've come off.
Well, listen, when he said he's got the Scottish Sun editorship, everyone was going, oh, it's great, and I went, no, hang on, whoa, hang on a minute.